If you want to understand why skin tags keep returning no matter how many times they are frozen or removed, do not look to the pharmacy shelf and do not look to the dermatologist treatment room. Look instead to a remedy practiced in the mountain villages of Sichuan Province for over 1,000 years, one that addresses what the skin is actually trying to say. Hello, my friends. I am glad you found your way here today. Most doctors will not bring this up in a rushed appointment. It carries no procedure code. It cannot be written on a prescription pad. It lives in a tradition. In the careful watching of healers who saw these same complaints arise across generations and watch them clear, what follows may change how you understand your own skin and what moves beneath it. My name is Jian Chen. For more than 50 years, I have practiced the healing traditions my grandfather first placed in my hands at age 14 in the mountains of Sichuan Province, where my family has tended to the sick for many generations. I share this so you understand the source of what follows. The old texts taught that the leaf shows the story of the root. Whatever appears at the body's surface mirrors what is working beneath it. The gut, what the tradition calls the seat of all transformation, governs how we manage inflammation, balance what flows through us, and restore during sleep. When the belly is tended, the channels run clear. When it falters, the surface speaks. My grandfather's teachers watched this remedy work. Their teachers before them watched it. Across 7 generations of mountain families, I have personally come to know. Skin tags that appeared after middle age responded to the same internal approach, and I have rarely seen them return once the body's terrain was properly tended. Researchers from outside our mountains have more recently confirmed what the tradition observed long before the laboratory took any interest. The mountain was simply watching, patiently, long before they arrived. What I am about to share follows a specific order. Each piece prepares the body for the next. 9 out of 10 people who try to address this on their own miss the single most important step entirely. I think the step that surprises you will not be the one you expected. Stay until the end. The master remedy, the piece that brings everything together, I am holding until last. Before we continue, leave me a comment. Tell me your age. Tell me whether skin tags have been appearing in new places over time. I read every single comment on this channel, and what you share shapes what I bring to you next. Today, I am going to show you the internal imbalance that mountain healers in Sichuan have connected to these growths for 1,000 years. I will show you the morning preparation the tradition called the channel opener. I will show you the dietary principle the old masters linked to what they named damp accumulation. I will show you the internal practice that restores the terrain all surface healing requires, and the master remedy, the topical preparation passed down through my grandfather's lineage, the piece I have watched work across more patients than I can number. I am saving for the final part. One small favor. If this teaching is reaching you, please subscribe. Many people watching have not yet pressed that button. It takes 2 seconds and allows this kind of knowledge to reach more of our community. In the mountains of Sichuan Province, skin tags were never treated as a cosmetic matter. They were read. Among the families I have watched across generations, these growths appeared when the same conditions were present. A weakened spleen, stagnant qi movement, dampness accumulating in the soft tissues when the body's channels no longer moved cleanly. A mountain healer reads a patient's skin tags the way a gardener reads yellowed leaves at the base of a vine, a signal pointing inward, an invitation to look deeper. The tradition explains this through the spleen's relationship with moisture. In Chinese medicine, the spleen transforms what we eat and drink into the nourishment the body uses. When it weakens with age, when cold or sweet food overwhelms it, when the liver channel begins to stagnate, dampness accumulates. Unable to move through the channels, it settles into the tissues. The skin, governed by the lung channel, begins to form small fibrous deposits where the dampness has gathered. My grandfather's teacher described it this way. When the current of a stream slows, things begin to collect at its edges. The skin tag is where the current stopped. Address the current, and the edges slowly clear. Researchers coming to this from the outside have noted a meaningful connection between blood sugar regulation and the development of multiple skin tags in adults past 50. The healers of our tradition were not surprised to hear it. What they called a weakened spleen transforming poorly, the outside world now calls metabolic efficiency declining with age. Different language, the same observation, centuries apart. The first practice the tradition recommends is the morning channel opening tea, dandelion root, gathered along every mountain path here for generations, supports the liver's clearing function and helps the spleen resume its movement. Steep 1 teaspoon of dried dandelion root in hot water for 10 minutes before your first meal each morning. In the old practice, this was called the daily sweeping. Begin here. The second practice concerns what enters the body. Cold foods taken first thing in the morning, excessive sweets, heavy dairy in bodies past 60 that have lost the digestive strength of youth. These are what the tradition names damp forming, shifting toward warming, cooked foods, ginger simmered in water with meals, cooked grains, lightly prepared vegetables, gives the spleen the conditions it needs to transform and move again. A quiet shift, a foundational one. The third practice, one my older patients often underestimate, is a pinch of dried ginger root in hot water, taken alongside your main meal. The mountain tradition has used this for generations to kindle what we call digestive fire, warming the spleen and supporting the transformation that must occur. Small habit, significant work over weeks. As with any change to your daily health practice, please consult your doctor, particularly if you are managing blood sugar levels or liver health. Here is something it took me many years to understand fully, my friends. After the age of 60, the gut loses a significant portion of the microbial community that supports how the body clears, absorbs, and defends itself. Probiotics alone often fall short because they depend on two other things to survive and do their work: prebiotic fiber, which feeds them, and postbiotics, the compounds the bacteria actually produce once they are nourished, the true healing substances the tissues draw on. Think of a garden. You cannot plant seeds in dry, unfed soil and expect them to flourish. Seed, soil, water, all three must work together. I want to pause here because this is something my patients ask me about often. Every preparation I have described works on a body, and the body is only as strong as the terrain inside it. After years of recommending traditional herbs and fermented preparations, I came to recommend a product called Butchbod, a kombucha gummy that brings prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics together in a single daily form. It contains two clinically studied strains, lactospore and postbiotics LM1004, alongside dandelion root and slippery elm, the same plants the mountain tradition has used for generations to support what moves through the gut and into the skin. Over 30,000 people are already using it. A gummy, not a pill, which many of my older patients find much easier to stay with. The link is in the description below. And please speak to your doctor before starting any supplement. And now we arrive at what I have been leading you toward throughout everything we have discussed, the master practice. This is the topical preparation passed through my grandfather's lineage, the one I have watched bring meaningful clearing to patients who had tried everything else. One of my patients, Ruth, 66 years old, a retired nurse from Chattanooga, Tennessee, had been watching skin tags appear along her neckline and collarbone for 3 years. What had been overlooked was the state of her internal terrain. Her spleen qi had been depleted for years, her gut community diminished, her diet heavy in cold and processed food. We addressed the morning tea, shifted her meals toward warming preparations, and worked to restore her gut terrain. Then we added the topical practice. By the end of 3 months, the skin tags along her neckline had reduced in size by roughly 55%, and 2 smaller ones had cleared entirely on their own. She told me, Master Jian, I spent 3 years thinking this was simply what growing older looked like. The practice itself is this: pure cold-pressed castor oil, applied directly to each skin tag each evening before sleep. A small amount pressed gently with your fingertip onto the surface of the growth, then covered with a light bandage to hold the oil in place through the night. In the mountain tradition, castor oil moves stagnant qi at the surface, warming the tissue and encouraging the channels beneath to carry what should not have settled there. Modern understanding points to ricinoleic acid, a compound in castor oil known to support anti-inflammatory processes and the gradual softening of fibrous tissue, helping the body slowly reabsorb what has accumulated. Apply each evening. Do not press aggressively. Let it rest in contact with the skin. Continue for 4 to 6 weeks with patience and consistency. The clearing the tradition promises unfolds steadily over weeks. For the patient who continues, it is real. After more than 50 years of watching what works, 3 principles I offer you. Apply the castor oil in the evening only, when the body has turned toward its deepest repair. Consistency surpasses intensity every time. 1 careful application each night over 6 weeks achieves far more than 1 strong effort once a week. And always address the inside while treating the outside. The topical preparation works on the body, and the body must be prepared to receive it. All 3 layers together is the tradition's wisdom. 3 mistakes I see made often: stopping after 1 or 2 weeks because visible results have not yet appeared. The tradition measures clearing in months, not days, and those who stop early never discover what patients would have shown them. Using diluted or heat-processed castor oil that has lost its active properties, only pure cold-pressed hexane-free oil carries what is needed here, and focusing only on the surface while continuing the same damp-forming habits that produced the skin tags in the first place, which leaves the body's condition unchanged beneath the treatment. You are not watching this out of vanity. You are watching this because your body has been speaking to you, and you want to understand what it is saying. That is a form of care I deeply respect. What you are protecting here are your mornings, your ease, your comfort in the body you live in each day. It is never too late for the body to respond to what it is given. I have watched patients well into their late 70s begin to see clearing they had stopped believing was possible. The capacity for restoration does not disappear. It waits for the right conditions. Let us bring it together. 1. Skin tags in the mountain tradition arise from dampness accumulation and stagnant qi, rooted in a weakened spleen and depleted gut terrain. 2. The morning dandelion root tea opens the channels and begins the internal clearing each day. 3. Warming foods and the reduction of damp-forming habits give the spleen the conditions it needs. 4. Restoring the gut's 3-part ecosystem, the prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics that must work together, addresses the terrain the skin reflects. 5. Consistent evening application of pure cold-pressed castor oil to each skin tag, patient, and steady over 4 to 6 weeks is the master practice that brings surface clearing when the root has been tended. Subscribe if you have not yet done so. Share this with your spouse, a sibling, or your oldest friend who has been carrying this concern quietly. They deserve to know what you now know. Leave me a comment telling me which practice you are beginning first. I read every single comment on this channel, and I want to hear from you. The Boochpod preparation I mentioned is waiting for you in the description link whenever you are ready. Until we meet again, my friends, I am grateful for the time you gave me today.